In the Gospel of Luke, we read a story of a woman with a blood problem, bleeding for 12 years nonstop. She's a social outcast. Anyone she touches is ceremonially unclean. She's endured horrible torture at the hands of the doctors who had no idea what to do. And she had heard that Jesus was in town. She had heard about his healings. And she says, all I need to do is touch the hem of his garment, and I'll be healed. And so she pushes through the crowd, defiling many in her way. She touches Jesus' robe, and she's healed. And Jesus stops to see who it is that touched him, and she tells him her story. And he says, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. And that word daughter was meant to let everyone know the woman who has just made you unclean and me unclean, she belongs to me. Let her go in peace. Now that was in his homecoming speech. And then there was this woman caught in adultery. And the men are all standing around ready to stone her to death. And Jesus stoops and writes in the sand and then gets up and says, go ahead, stone her. But make sure you're without sin if you're going to throw a stone at her. And all the rocks hit the ground, and all the men leave. And then Jesus asks the woman, where are your accusers? And she looks around and says, they've all left. And Jesus says, it's time for you to leave this lifestyle. Now that was in his homecoming speech. And then there's a story of Nicodemus who is trapped by religion. He comes to Jesus at night because he doesn't want to be seen talking to Jesus because his other pastor friends hate Jesus. And he's sure that Jesus is the real deal. And Jesus says to him, I know you're really busy doing all kinds of religious stuff trying to get closer to God, but the more you do, the farther away you feel. That's because religion oppresses. I've come to free the oppressed. Oh, and that was in his homecoming speech. And then Jesus takes time to look up in a tree, and he sees Zacchaeus, who is short and is unable to see Jesus, so he climbs up in a tree to see him, and Jesus goes to his house for lunch. And Zacchaeus, who's very successful climbing the corporate ladder, has become filthy rich, and he is incredibly poor relationally and emotionally and spiritually. He has no friends and no relationship with God except for his other very sinful friends. And after spending time with Jesus, he gets it, and he's set free. And Jesus says, that was part of my homecoming speech. Jesus was setting up what he was all about, and they're all amazed at his gracious teachings. Then why does his homecoming get ugly? More on that tomorrow.